Welcome to Tales, Tunes, and Tomfoolery starring Jerry Springer, along with Gene Galvin and me. I'm Megan Hills. We're recorded live in front of a brilliant studio audience at the Folk School Coffee Parlor in Ludlow, Kentucky.
My daddy came home.
And here he is, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jerry Springer.
Thank you. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Thank you. That's unbelievable. Boy. Woo.
Because I called you Mr.
Yeah, yes, and it's amazing how loud two people can sound.
Thank you guys very much. You guys are doing your due diligence out there tonight.
Thank you.
Hey, by the way,
hello.
remember,
Yes, I'm gonna remember.
We're live now. I mean, we've been
that's
doing
right.
things
Oh,
live.
how do I look?
And probably most people still listen to us on our archive versions, which you
Yes.
can hear at jerryspringer.com or any app phone app that does podcasts. But just to give a kind of a preview of what's going to happen tonight, we're going to hear from Full Moon Ranch, which is a great band.
Yep.
And as I mentioned, we're live. Tonight is a big primary night. So tonight is Ohio, winner take all on the Republican side, and maybe not winner take all, but contested between Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton. We're also Florida is winner take all.
Florida for the Republicans.
Illinois as well. It is.
It is? Okay. Illinois, and then Missouri and North Carolina.
You know what? I don't know. Illinois might be proportional. Doesn't matter. Ohio and Florida.
Ohio and Florida are clearly on the Republican side. Yeah.
And we're going to
winner
ask
take
you
all.
a little bit later to make some comments on. In fact, I went back to the Bible today, Megan, and I know you use the Catholic Bible. I use
do.
the King James version.
Well.
and in there, and I looked at the Old Testament, which Jerry knows the Old Testament.
Oh, the Old
He just
Testament.
doesn't know the New Testament.
I was there. Yeah. No, we had a little vacation home in Mount Sinai.
All right.
Oh,
Well,
it's wonderful.
I had a
a little later, I'm going to read a passage from Deuteronomy.
Yes.
And you were in it, and it's going to shock our audience because in the beginning there was light, and we're going to talk about the light, and that it was Jerry Springer. Yeah. But look, there's a guy that I don't know, maybe you should say stalks us. Speaking of politics, his name is State Senator Tip Kemper.
Oh, is he
not
back?
He's been on our show before, and he calls and he pretty much begs me as the producer, can you get me on? I've got a new bill. So he has this new
Nitwits.
bill out. Yeah. I think it's Senate Bill 714 or something. And so he's called, and I think David might even have him on the phone. Look, this guy kind of intimidates me. And you're the politician in our little podcast family, and Megan just has brains as compared to us. So I believe that Megan should help vet State Senator Tip Kemper.
Yeah.
And I think that Jerry should, because Jerry was mayor of Cincinnati.
And clearly you're just a pushover and you get him on every time you want. So
and so I'm going to,
So we'll ask him questions about his proposal. He's got a bill, is what you're saying.
He has a bill, and
Now, this is the same guy that had like Read Write America and that had the turn left only.
Yeah, and
like,
then with the
he's
one with the
nitwit.
swimming pool.
The swimming
that anyone who
right.
owns a swimming pool,
had the vouchers and you had to have
you
10
are
kids from the inner
required
city.
during the summer to have 10 low-income kids.
Bus to your home.
Bus to your home so they can swim in your private pool.
And
And
you were
you have
you were required to give them a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, a towel, and a phone call
yes.
for someone to pick
Yes,
them up.
Mr. Springer.
Yes.
Oh, gosh, here he is.
Senator.
Hi, this is State Senator Tip Kemper. I continue to be appreciative that you let me on your show. I don't get a lot of earned media, and I try to get it, and I don't often get it.
Well, the key with earned media is you have to earn it.
Right. We're not quite there yet with you, sir.
Right. Well, I have a bill that I wondered if you could help me just push
Sure.
it across the finish line. It's State Senator Tip Kemper Senate Bill 701.
701.
And it's called the Tip Kemper Burqa Bill.
Burqa?
And it would require all women to wear a burqa that would cover both their full head and certainly their face. I'm wondering if you could help me get that passed by asking your listeners to contact their state senator and ask them to support this burqa bill.
Which country are you thinking of?
Right.
Of doing it in?
Well, I'm in the United States of America, the United States.
Senator Kemper, State Senator Tip Kemper, what is the purpose of this bill?
Well, that's a great question, Marilyn.
Smog?
The premise. Pardon me?
Is it smog? You want to make sure,
Protected from the elements?
Yes.
Are we, yeah.
Is that
Well, actually, no, there are several reasons. One is economic, and the other is humanitarian. On the economic front, my father in the state has a textile industry and provides burqas for women in countries outside of America. And so it would be an economic boon to have burqas being produced for all women.
No.
So that's one rationale.
No. Keep going. What else you got?
All right. The second rationale is a little bit like the humanitarian side. If you have a friend or a loved one who is having chemotherapy, and sometimes friends and loved ones will shave their heads in sympathy so that they don't feel uncomfortable. So the second reason would be that the women who do wear burqas in America would no longer feel uncomfortable because all women would be wearing burqas.
Yeah,
but that goes against the purpose of they're wearing burqas to express their religious beliefs. That you're taking that away from them if you're making it a fashion statement. Absolutely not. This is ridiculous.
Well, there's a third reason, and I imagine
just one quick question. What kind of drugs are you on?
Right. And do you share?
Well, I do take a blood pressure medication, and I do take a daily pill for my prostate.
Now we're talking.
Jerry can talk to you
This
now.
is the first thing I can understand.
Okay.
Senator.
What was the third?
The third reason is women, unless they went to Catholic schools, and I think I've heard on a past podcast that your co-host there, Marilyn, went to Catholic schools, and Catholic school girls wear uniforms so that they can go to school not giving a crap how they look. And the burqa would allow them not to have to sit and paint their faces every morning. They just cover them up. So that's my third reason. So I really would appreciate it. And by the way, if this passes, I believe it will, the first penalty for a first offense would be $100.
No.
After that would be $1,000. And then finally, if somebody just refuses to wear the burqa, the state would basically put a metal burqa padlock on the head and face of a woman. So those are the penalties.
I got it. No. Jerry, what do you? No. Just no.
Did you get anyone to second this bill?
Well, not yet, but that's what I'm asking also for your help on. If you know a state senator, contact him or her, please, and ask them to second this. I appreciate it very much. My other cell phone is ringing, so I'm going to have to scoot.
We can't talk to
There's a vote coming up this evening on the Senate floor. But thank you very much.
Thank
you, Senator.
My call.
No, this guy is a crackpot. This is unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, that's polite. He's just stupid.
Wearing burqas. Yeah, that's a great idea in 2016 United States. Let's throw women in burqas. Absolutely. What a nitwit.
I mean, those who wear it because of religious beliefs.
Absolutely. That's their right.
But to force everyone else to put it on.
Yeah, because your father has a textile industry. That's ridiculous.
I think you guys are, and again, I
think you're a
appreciate you guys carrying
pushover.
the water on this because that guy. See, my problem is I think it's a good idea.
Yeah, that is a
Don't get
major
into
problem.
this discussion.
It never dawned on me that you didn't think it was a good idea.
It just.
But it could also. But all the bad things that could happen.
Oh.
Well, if you're with a woman you're not supposed to be with, who's going to know?
Well, that's a good point, Jerry. I like the way you think.
I'm going right to the issue.
I like the way you think.
Yeah. Well, wait a second. Get him back on the phone.
Nope. We're done with that.
Did he hang up?
He hung up.
Oh,
What a shame.
I ought to carry some burqas around.
Yeah.
Hello.
No, I don't think that's a good idea.
I'm kidding, Mickey.
Yeah. Mickey's Jerry's wife. Hey, speaking of covering up somebody's head and face and all that, made me think of Bloodshot Eyes. And then Bloodshot Eyes made me think, well, I remember once some years ago, and I have it in my computer case here, so I pulled it out, and it's a record that says Bloodshot Eyes by, now let's see who this is by. It's Linda and Jerry and the Johnson Fork Boys. And I thought, maybe David could pull this up and play this because I think our audience really deserves to hear it.
What did
year
they
was
do
this?
wrong?
What year was this, Gene?
This was actually We recorded this in 1968.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh, 67. I'm sorry, 1967.
Wow.
It was the summer between my second and third year of law school when I first came to Cincinnati for the first time.
I wasn't
All right, this is history.
Yeah.
So when you guys are ready, let's hear it.
I can tell that you've been out on a spree. I know that you're lying when you say you've been crying. Don't you roll those bloodshot eyes at me.
Yeah, listen for Jerry's voice here. That's a pretty good instrument. You're not doing that, are you? No. Oh, you are playing. Yeah, so you're playing chords on this. All right, let's play it.
Now here comes the verse.
Here we go.
Don't you roll those bloodshot eyes at me. I can tell that you've been out on a spree.
Pretty unbelievable.
I know that you're lying when you say
You can sing along with it if you want to.
My voice doesn't go
Is this you? You are
I
so
spend all my
Here you go.
money just to make you look real sweet.
Very sweet.
I wanna be so proud of you when we walk down the street. Don't ask me to dress you up in satins or in silk. Your eyes look like two cherries in a glass of buttermilk.
Everybody.
Don't you roll those bloodshot eyes at me.
Let's go.
I can tell that you've been out on a spree. I know that you're lying when you say you've been crying. Don't you roll those bloodshot eyes at me. Now our little romance
Just one more.
has finally settled down.
This
you
is
should
too
join the circus, you'd make a real good clown. Your eyes look like a road map, I'd hate to smell your breath. You better close those peepers before you bleed to death.
All right, let's bring it down, David. Bring it down.
I can tell that you've been out on a
And the Johnson Fork Boys.
Yes, they were great. They made the
You were
record.
up in the
We need to talk
stratosphere with
about
those
that.
notes.
Oh, yeah. Well, my voice changed in 76.
Okay.
70,
When you were about
76
32 years old, as I recall.
Finally dropped.
That's why I had trouble getting dates.
That was it, huh?
This
That was the
before
reason.
Before I met Mickey.
I got to tell you that, well, first thing I think of is Wayne Newton. Did they go in after that and do surgery on your cords to make you sound like a man? That's the one thing I wonder.
It is amazing how high my voice is.
Yeah.
I honestly
that
did.
really
I had,
is. That's not
did
a
not
joke.
think that was you until Gene said, "Oh, this is." No.
Well, because I said it's Jerry and Linda, and you thought Linda singing like this whole thing.
Well, I
Maybe
thought
they
somebody
dual
else-
tracked it. Is that what you call it, David? Where you dual track?
I think the record was sped up.
Oh, you think it was? Do you?
No, it wasn't.
No, it
No,
was
no.
not.
Nice try, David.
Thanks, big guy.
Jerry,
But I don't sound like that anymore.
I don't
No,
think
no, you're
that's
very masculine
Megan.
now.
What'd you? I don't think it sounded bad.
No,
Actually.
I didn't. I just had
It
no
was
idea
on
it was
key.
him.
Yeah.
on
It was
key.
technically on key.
And it's impressive that he. I mean, it's just amazing.
You are a man of many, many talents,
Many
Mr.
talents.
Springer.
And and that's why we're holding on to his coattails. Hey, we went
Absolutely.
to the Democratic Party dinner the other night. Megan
Certainly
Hills,
did.
and Jerry Springer. Let's hear it for Jerry Springer,
Yep.
who laid out some money. So we got a table up front.
Got to listen to Bernie and Hillary.
And no meal.
We
yeah.
got a
No,
lovely
let me.
meal.
No, wait. Tell the whole story. Okay, it's the Democratic Party dinner,
Yeah,
right?
a state Democratic Party in Ohio, Columbus,
Ohio.
Ohio. 3,000 people there.
Yeah, it
Yep,
was
30
great.
yeah.
It was
Two
great.
speakers. Tell who the speakers were.
Bernie Sanders, Hillary Clinton.
It
Yep.
was
How
really
about that?
quite
And let's be
amazing.
honest, why were you not at the table when the dinner was served, sir?
Thank you, Megan, for asking that.
Yeah, what were you doing while we
Where
were
was
eating
I?
chicken?
Yeah, we were meeting with Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, you were, and I was
Yeah.
eating chicken and risotto. I would have
Yeah.
liked to have
Yeah.
been. Thanks for that invitation. No, but it was a really cool night.
Oh yeah, it really
That
was.
so
It was a
neat.
lot of fun. And then so we afterwards we go back upstairs because we want to listen to her speech. And I get to the table, $10,000 for the table. I mean, it's a fundraiser.
Right.
You would think I'd get a slice of chicken.
Right.
Nothing. They cleared away the dishes.
You weren't there. None of you
Yep.
were. You all abandoned us. We had to eat the chicken.
That's why I'm having
Yeah,
this.
Jerry had to go down and have his moment with.
Oh, whatever,
and
Gene,
I
you were there
sat
too.
Oh no, I wasn't.
Piece
I
of
sat
crap,
up
you
with
were there
you.
too.
You were there too. But Gene, and I'll tell you, this is Gene's character, and that's true. This isn't a joke. Everyone, there were about 15 people there, something like that.
Yeah,
15.
Yeah, it was a nice little small gathering.
Yeah, and she would come up to each one and talk or whatever, and then we took pictures. And Gene, everyone of course wanted to pay. Not Gene.
Yeah.
Gene says, "I'll take the picture." And Bonnie had his wife.
That's
had
my wife, yeah.
a picture, and
very
I had a
chivalrous.
picture, and You can get the picture by going to
Yes, right.
our website.
Oh yeah,
Yes,
and it's been tweeted out and all of that. So no, I'm wanted in 3 states. It's wise for me. Don't have any more pictures. I don't need any more pictures.
Because I never would have done that. I never would have said, I don't want a picture of me.
Yeah, I know.
I would have elbowed right through there.
That just
Out of my way.
seems so unthinkable.
Yeah. Well, actually, I got to say, it was kind of cool to see you, and you did, and I don't begrudge you this. You wanted a photo, and if you go into my home and my home office where you've been, I've got all these photos of all these politicians.
Ted Kennedy,
And it's such a big
yeah.
deal.
Remember that one that you had a picture taken in 1980 when we were campaigning for governor. Ted Kennedy he came in and he spoke at a dinner for us, and we wanted a picture with Ted Kennedy.
Right.
So Jene jumps right next to him, and they snap a picture. But Ted Kennedy, he didn't see you coming. He's startled.
Yeah.
So the photograph is like,
Yeah.
Ted Kennedy.
He's looking for Secret
terrified.
Service.
He's like, who is this crazy guy? And Gene's going, no, man.
That's really cool.
And that made me think of the bit we have. It's a great segue.
They usually
that made me
are.
think of the bit we have called "Would you like to date Megan?"
Yeah, that was a seamless segue.
Oh yeah, seamless, man. So we're running this bit,
It's unglued.
and okay, so and we're getting a pretty good flow of guys
This has
that
been
want
going
to
on
date
for
Megan.
how long now?
Oh, it's going to go forever. So this guy makes contact with me, and look, totally legit, and it is legit. And I get his name. He's out in Cali. He's out somewhere out in California, and so I make a call. He's got a phone number and a email address, so I make the call, and he didn't answer, but a woman answered.
Shut up.
And I asked for the guy. I thought, well, maybe it's some BS number.
Yeah.
She says, no, he's sleeping. And I said, well, I'm Gene Galvin from the Jerry Springer podcast, a producer and co-host. And what's your relationship to him? She says, he's my husband.
Shut up.
Here we
Another
go
one?
again.
Another
What goes on, Megan?
Why do no single guys?
What is it that they
We've been doing
hear?
this for 7 or 8
No, we're getting mostly single guys, but we have now gotten this our second married guy that wants to come in from California on Jerry Springer's dime. No problem with that.
Gee,
He
I
wants to
wonder-
get a free dinner. And it's like, so do
You
I
tell him-
say to the guy, I said, look, have him call me or I'll call
Gene,
him.
no.
When's a good
We're-
time to call
We're
him?
going to just go ahead and say if they're married, they're out of the running. It's
Why
not.
do you say that?
How
Why
could
are
I
you
say-
so
because I have a
rigid and
moral
narrow?
You're so judgmental.
Why are you so judgy all of a
So
sudden?
picky. This is why I'm single.
Yeah, right. No, but you're like so strict and Catholic girl. I mean,
Yeah,
you don't take him out of there. Leave him on the list.
Does anyone
I think
ever-
he's a finalist.
He's a finalist. Of course, they're all finalists.
Does anyone ever call you from JDate?
How do you know about JDate?
Now, Jerry, that's a hell of an idea. Well, explain what JDate is.
Well, when I was in college, and I guess right after college, JDate is where you get to meet Jewish girls.
It's
Yeah,
Jewish online dating now.
But we didn't have online back then.
Are you serious now? This existed
Oh,
back then? JDate, though it
not
wasn't
JDate,
online.
but it was J Dances.
JDate.
All right, but
And
it's the
there was
same
an
concept.
organization. There was one here in Cincinnati.
Like
Now
at the
there is
synagogue,
JDate,
yeah.
isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah, but there was actually on Friday nights, you would go to this dance, and, because every Jewish mother wants her son to marry a Jewish girl, whatever.
Absolutely.
So you're supposed to go to these, I was always pushed, Gerald,
Go to the dance. Be nice.
yeah.
Go to the dance.
So I would go, and I'd go every week. I'd come home alone. I went with Milton, my good friend.
He sounds like a stud.
Milton
Jerry
and I would go to
Jerry
the
and
Jewish
Milton at
dances.
the dance.
And and there I met Zelda and Judy Schlein and all these. I shouldn't be mentioning their names, but they'd all they dance with you and then they.
What did they ask you? So what did that conversation sound like, Jerry?
Well, once I got a call.
Well, wait a second.
From one of them.
Well, let's do something here.
Sure.
Let's do something here. Let's fast forward and pretend that you're now involved in JDate right now, the online service.
Yeah.
Because doesn't it, and didn't it back then usually lead to a phone call, whether it was back then or even today?
Yeah.
If you do I know you do Christian Mingle, Megan. So when you do Christian Mingle.
FarmersOnly.com,
Yeah.
ChristianMingle.com.
Yeah. So you
We used to play you guys in touch football.
And we won.
Yeah.
Always.
Always.
Yeah, but we owned the team.
There's a lot of truth to
But it
that.
always
you
leads
can
to a
play.
phone call because you're up half the night talking to these guys when you meet
Yeah.
them on Christian Mingle.
but
When I'm not here, that's what I'm doing. I'm
Yeah,
talking to
I
guys from
know.
JDate.
So let's hear what it might sound
So
like.
Gerald
If
Springer.
Gerald Springer is calling you, so what's her name? She's Zelda.
Yeah, you be Zelda.
Okay, I'll be Zelda.
So how would this go? The phone rings.
Hello. Hello.
Hello?
Zelda.
Hello?
This is Gerald.
Hi, Gerald.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I was doing my homework. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What is it that you do for a living, Gerald?
I'm still in school
What are you going to school for?
because my mother told me to go.
I mean, what are you going to school? What are you studying, Gerald?
I don't study that much, which is why I'm still doing this. No, here's the thing. So, and then I'd say, would you like to go out? And I'd always ask for 2 or 3 weeks in advance.
Yeah,
because
yes,
whenever,
no excuses.
Because I'm telling you, every girl I asked out, their grandmother died.
Every time.
Yeah, every time.
Every time.
There were
One
honestly,
woman
There
had
was this
3
one girl, she had 3, 4 grandparents.
And they all went out in a week and a half.
Yeah, I said, good Lord, I'm a jinx. If you're not feeling well, don't let me call you because everyone.
Did it ever occur to you that maybe they were just dodging the date?
But once Zelda called back. I think it was Zelda. She actually called me back, and I'm all excited because the girl had never.
Was that
called.
Dr. Schneidler's daughter? That wasn't.
Schneidler?
Yeah,
No, he
wasn't.
was my doctor. Yeah. So Zelda called back and she says, "Gerald, no one's home. Why don't you come over?"
Ruh-roh.
Serious?
Yeah, I swear.
Yeah, Megan. Like,
So I said, "Mom, I'll be back."
I gotta go.
So I went over, and she was right. No one was home.
hey, he came up with a new joke. Give him some applause. Come on. Finally.
That's it. We're done with the podcast. That's all we got tonight.
Thank you. Thank you, Jerry. Did that come from Jenna, or did you do that?
And you tailored it to the story?
It was
Look at
unbelievable,
you.
Megan, wasn't it?
This is good.
See, he can learn.
It can be taught.
He can be taught. I like where you were going with that.
Yeah.
Like, what are you studying? Because
Yeah,
you
what do you
only
do?
would want like a doctor or a lawyer
Absolutely.
or an entrepreneur.
Yeah, and not a Jerry Springer. No offense.
Yeah, not a Jerry Springer, no. Hey, I got to ask you something, Jerry.
Yeah.
I was looking in the Bible the other day.
Amen.
And not the other day, I read the Bible pretty much daily. But I was back in the Old Testament.
Yeah.
Back in your territory.
They didn't even have phones.
Someday I'd like to have I'm going to digress for a second. I'd like to one podcast talk to you about, and Megan, I think you'll join me on this. Jerry's Jewish, Megan and I are Catholic, and Jerry does not believe that Jesus Christ is the Messiah. What the hell more evidence do you need?
Oh my God,
What
are we
is
having
the
this
deal
conversation
here?
on
You know what I'm
the
saying,
podcast?
Megan?
This is getting real deep real quick, Jane.
Yeah,
I gotta tell you,
come on.
we're not going to solve this tonight.
You don't think so? You don't have the proofs ready?
Yeah,
you don't have the proofs.
I didn't say he's not. I said I'm not sure.
Dear God, you break quickly.
Just in case.
Yeah, just
when
in
you're
case.
my age, you start hedging your bets.
Yeah.
That's what my dad always said. He said, I don't believe it. I'm going to say a prayer before I die.
72, it could be anything.
Hey, but I was reading in Deuteronomy,
Yes.
and I'm just going to read a quote from it, and it leads up to something I want to ask you about that is political. So it says here in Deuteronomy, in the beginning there was light, and the light begat Jerry Springer, and Jerry Springer begat Maury Povich, and Maury begat Jessica Simpson and Nick Lachey, and they begat Kim Kardashian and her mom. And they begat The Bachelor, and he begat The Sister Wives, and they begat Honey Boo Boo and the Duck Dynasty, and Duck begat The Apprentice and Donald Trump.
So
That is from Deuteronomy. So this was known.
God, I got to read
then.
that.
So therefore.
This was therefore, or ergo.
Ergo.
They knew back then Yahweh or God or Jesus. You know, we believe in the Father, Son, the Holy Spirit, and that's another episode. But
Where we
but the
solve all
thing
those
is,
problems.
Jerry,
It's a big episode.
It's a big one.
Pretty big.
That's We're going to have to make the table a little bigger.
I think
Particularly
that
we're offering supper. Go ahead.
isn't there a serious question here that you may have begat the violence in pop culture TV and maybe Donald Trump
It's your fault.
and all the stuff that's going on in all of these events? Is that fair to lay that at your doorstep?
No. And we'll be back next week.
The Springer,
No, well, actually,
Springerization of politics.
we're joking, but earlier today I was on one of the cable shows, and they were talking about that, the primaries tonight and the election and all that kind of stuff. And then at the end, the anchor said, well, here's a clip of your show. Do you feel responsible for Donald Trump? Whereupon I said, I am not the father. But, well, obviously, no. But it made me think, because now everyone's jumping in on the whole violence thing, and, nothing I'm going to say about what is happening at his rallies and the words he's using, inciting these people to beat up, punch, whatever, protesters, and I'll pay for the legal fees and all that kind of stuff. It's horrendous what he's saying. It's not even disputed. The Republicans are saying it's awful. So I'm not saying anything new there. However, it made me think of two things. Number one, we need to put things in perspective. And for anyone who was old enough to remember 1968, to talk about violence today compared to what 1968 was is ludicrous. America right now is not falling apart, okay? There's not, a civil war going on in America. In 1968, we were at war with hundreds and thousands of young men and some women coming back in body bags. Every week, more and more coming back injured, lives ruined. We had the draft. We had people rioting in the streets. Cities were burning. Draft cards were burning. Detroit, Washington, D.C., Newark, L.A., every place. We had the assassination of Medgar Evers, Martin Luther King, Bobby Kennedy. We had the riots at the Democratic Convention in Chicago in August. So to compare, what is happening now at a couple of Trump rallies with America in an actual civil war, the country was falling apart in 1968. So we have to put things in perspective, because when we don't put things in perspective, then all of a sudden, nothing is very important anymore. It's like, when people say, oh, that's Hitler, that's the Holocaust. Wait a second. Nothing is like that. So I think the first thing is just, if we're complaining about something and we want to change something and improve something, let's do that. But we're not going to be taken seriously if we tell the world America is falling apart. America is not falling apart. Okay? It's not. We've never had more people. We have 90% of the population has health insurance now. That's never been the case before. It's not 100% yet, but it's 90%. This is the lowest unemployment rate we've had in at least a decade. We're not at war in any other part of the world. That doesn't mean there aren't incidents that happen around the world and there could be a terrorist act, but we're not at war. We're not having hundreds of young men and women coming back, deformed or dead because of these wars. So, yes, there are things to complain about, and there are people that are angry. But the difference is, in 1968, America was a riot, was burning. Here, when people say they feel the burn, they're for Sanders. Back in 68, there really was burning. That's the first thing. Second thing is, we have been saying in these podcasts, the reason why it is vital that a Democrat gets elected president this time is because we know January 20th of next year, we're still going to have a very right-wing Republican Congress. That's because of the lines that have been drawn. And Congress is going to stay Republican, and there's nothing that can be done to change that until 2020, when there's another census taken, and then there's states can redraw the lines. And if there are enough Democratic legislators and a governor, then you can start to get fairer districts. But right now, whoever becomes president in 2017 is going to deal with a right-wing Congress. And we know what this right-wing Congress has already passed. So it's not a question of, oh, they wouldn't do that. This right-wing Congress, and I wrote some of this down so I don't forget, obviously, you're going to deal with the Supreme Court, right? The vacancy. Then every candidate on the Republican side has talked about repealing Obamacare. Say goodbye to gay rights. Look at what's going to happen with deporting immigrants, what they want to do. Look how they, in virtually every state, try to suppress the black vote, minority voters, making it tougher for them to vote, putting all those things in the way. They fight minimum wage. They want to disband unions. I mean, this is their agenda. We're not making this up. They have passed this legislation. The only thing which stops it from becoming law is a Democratic president who will veto that Congress. That's what we've said in the prior weeks. Here's the part that 1968 reminded me of. Let's say, and we don't know at this moment, and by the time people listen to this, they probably will know, but let's say Kasich won Ohio and then suddenly went on, and by some miracle, he's the candidate. Most people would think he's more responsible than Trump. Okay, so let's say he's the responsible Republican. In other words, I'm trying to say, even if you had a responsible Republican, not a crazy man, but someone who's responsible, conservative but responsible, even he, and it's going to be a he because there are no Republican women still running, even he would not be able to veto this right-wing Republican Congress that will pass all the things I just mentioned. And the reason he can't is, in the last 100 years, there has never been a sitting president, someone who is already president running for re-election. There has never been a sitting president who has been re-elected if he gets challenged in primaries by a serious candidate in his party. Anytime a sitting president gets challenged by his own party in the primaries, he may win those primaries, but he loses then in the general election. Every single time. In 1968, the Democrats took on their own president from their own party, Lyndon Johnson, got him not to run, then went after Hubert Humphrey, who was the vice president at the time, and they challenged him with McCarthy and Bobby Kennedy, and you know the end of that story. Richard Nixon beat Humphrey and became president. That was one time it happened. Next time, 1976, Gerald Ford is running for re-election. Ronald Reagan challenges him in the primaries, wins some states. Ford ultimately wins at the convention. Ford is the candidate, but he was challenged by his own party in the primaries, and he lost to Jimmy Carter. 1980, Jimmy Carter is running for re-election, challenged by Ted Kennedy in the primaries. He beats off Kennedy, but he loses the general election to Ronald Reagan. 1992, George Bush is running for re-election. He gets challenged by Pat Buchanan. Remember that? Buchanan won a bunch of states in the South. And Bush went on to lose to Bill Clinton. It's very difficult to get re-elected president anyway. And if you don't have a unified party, let's face it, in 4 years, you're going to anger people. So if you're not going in unified as a party, you can't get re-elected. And that's the reality. And we've seen these examples. There are no exceptions to it, by the way. These are the examples. So therefore, when people go to vote, if there's anyone listening to this that is still undecided, and I can't imagine many people are, or you're talking to someone who's not sure, explain to them the only issue this time. If you don't like the agenda of the right wing becoming the law of the land, including the Supreme Court, you have to have a Democratic president, even if you're not in love with a candidate, even if your candidate isn't the most charismatic. Let's be honest, we have two people running for the Democratic nomination, and they're both, by the time they would take office, in their 70s. Okay, so we're not talking about, hey, some young hotshot that's going to have a great political future. I understand that. You know, we're not going to get the reincarnation of Barack Obama or even a young Bill Clinton. So that's the reality. But we're not voting for rock stars here. This is serious grunt work. We have to make sure that there is not a Republican president this time, or we will pay for it for at least the next 2 decades.
Yeah, good analysis. I think we should call forward a musical group called Full Moon Ranch, and they're going to come up and get set up. And they have actually 2 CDs out. First of all, welcome, guys, to the Jerry Springer podcast, Tales, Tunes, and Tomfoolery.
Glad to be here.
And let's ask if you'll do a song, and then we'll do some talking.
Okay, we're going to do a song. It's from the dog's perspective about the new baby in the family. It's called The New King. 1, 2, He arrived a week ago new, face like a moon, his entourage in tow. Swoons and smiles, they travel for miles just to look at why I don't know. Great big eyes, fat belly and thighs, slobbers and drools all day long. Where did he come from? They can't be that dumb. Don't they see he does not belong? They all adore you, adore you. Just so you know, they once adored me too. He demands food and a bath. They jump to and laugh. The new king commands from his throne. He'll scream and cry. All the ladies just sigh while I'm on the rug all alone. He's coddled and carried, but ever since we were married, I was the star of the show. I play fetch, I sit up and catch and roll over, but what does he know? They all just love you, love you. Just so you know, they once loved me too. Now 2 years have passed. I never thought he would last, but the new king's come round my way. We roll and we wrestle here in the castle. We run and we play all day. I once chewed up his rattle, but I'm back in the saddle, though I tire of hearing them all brag. When the day ends at dark, I just have to bark. The new king makes my tail wag. They all adore you, adore you. Just so you know, I adore you too.
That's Full Moon Ranch. That is a good song. And that's
That was
a
a really
clever
good song.
and families really can relate to that. Congratulations for thinking that up. We have in this group 3 people, Jody, Spencer, and Ed. Ed's the songwriter. And I note here that Jody and Spencer are both teachers. I'm an educator by trade myself. And Ed, you were a teacher as well at one time, correct?
Many moons ago, yes.
Yeah. And you guys have a couple CDs out. How can people get those?
Just email us at fullmoonranch@outlook.com.
Okay.
And we can get those to them. We've got some here tonight if anybody wants them.
And I suspect they could also access them through Folk School Coffee Parlor in Ludlow, Kentucky. And if they don't have a couple copies, I'm sure they'd get them and help you guys out to
That'd be great.
get those to people. Would you do a second song for us?
Sure, love to.
Okay. What are you going to do?
Come on, we're going down home. I have Appalachian roots, and my folks came this way to try to prosper. They were both from coal mining families, both from families of 8 and 9 kids, coal mining fathers, lived in the company houses, shopped at the company store for their staples.
So that's interesting. That's the real story of so many people from Appalachia. What towns are they from?
I was born in Pennington Gap, Virginia. They were in a holler called Bonnie Blue. Well, the other holler is Monarch, and you'll hear that in the song.
Okay.
But every long weekend, every holiday, every vacation, we were back in the car on our way to Virginia. Just, they wanted to keep that connection. That was their home.
Ed, that's the story of so many Appalachian immigrants, isn't it? They go to where jobs were,
Sure.
and they yearn for the hollers, and they would travel back, and then Sunday late they'd be driving back to their jobs. The story, by the way, of the coal mining story is companies, let's just bore down just a little bit more. So coal mining companies would come in, get land, get access to the mineral rights. Sometimes they didn't even buy the land, they'd buy the mineral rights. Set up mines, deep mines at that time, set up stores, and the workers would live in company housing that they would pay for. They would shop in the company store, and as the song 16 Tons said back in the 50s, you owed your soul to the company store. You never got out of the cycle, correct? So the money, the currency was some little chip that you got from the company.
Yeah, they called it scrip, and it basically was play money. It was good for the company rent and for the company store. And
your family lived that.
Oh, absolutely.
Your parents lived that.
Yes, absolutely. Wow. Yeah, and I owe so much to them. They did the heavy lifting. They had 7th grade educations, and they caught a train to northern Kentucky here and lived here for a while, and then went to Cincinnati and educated themselves on how to have a trade, weld or whatever it might be. And
very interesting. When you
I'm the beneficiary.
Did you ever teach Appalachian relocated family kids?
Well, in a sense, when I first started teaching, I was out in the Kings Mills School District, and a
Which
big
is
part
a
of that is
suburban
South
northern
Lebanon,
suburb.
and it's you remember
Yeah.
Cash Ambergy.
So these are
very
Cincinnati references, but there were Appalachian people who went north of Cincinnati to Hamilton, Middletown,
Absolutely, yeah.
those places, and that's where you work. So you did touch some of those kids. Interesting. Okay, sing this song that has these references. We look forward to it.
When I was a boy, I remember pretty clear the big Carew Tower in the rearview mirror, crossing the bridge on into the hills. Come on, we're going down home. Marty Robbins on the radio, Patsy Cline, Hank Snow, Dixie Highway, here we go. Come on, we're going down home. Fender skirts, white socks, don't touch the pistol in the glove box. Hey, Mom, find a station with rock. Come on, we're going down home. St. Charles, Virginia was a mining town. If it wasn't for coal, there'd be nothing around. Grandma's in the hollers, I've got two. Up in Monarch and Bonnie Blue. Swaying with the roads, it's cool and dark. I know we're there when I hear Blackie bark. Ain't no fence, he loves to roam. Come on, we're going down home. Marty Robbins on the radio, Loretta Lynn, Buck Owens, that Chevrolet, loaded down low. Come on, we're going down home. Lucky Strikes, White Sox, don't touch the pistol in the glove box. Hey, Mom, find a station with rock. Come on, we're going down home. Here we go. Both grandpas worked a mine, we never saw much till supper time. Dozens of cousins that talk real funny, we had a lot of fun, but not much money. Hey, you kids, stay away from that shed, don't you know there might be a copperhead? You mess around with them, you could wind up dead. Come on, we're going down home, here we go. Catch that chicken, you won't get pecked. If you want supper, gotta wring its neck. Me and all the cousins scared half to death. Come on, we're going down home. Marty Robbins on the radio, Earl Haggard, Hank Snow. Dixie Highway, here we go. Come on, we're going down home. Grilled cream, White Sox, don't touch the pistol in the glove box. Grandma's doors don't have no locks. Come on, we're going down home. Come on, we're going down home. Come on, we're going down home.
Bravo!
Those are good songs.
That is great writing. I mean, those words, you just see the whole picture there. You can picture great
Very
writing.
good writing. Very good writing. That's coming from an English teacher, too. You know what I'm saying? No, that's really good stuff. We really appreciate it that you've come by here. That's good material. And I wondered if you would take us out on Irene Goodnight. And
You don't know Bloodshot Eyes?
No, yeah. I'm wondering if you guys could humble yourselves to allow Mr. Jerry Springer to sing a verse of Irene Goodnight with you.
Absolutely.
We appreciate it.
This is a career ender.
Jerry, do the best you can on
I'm
this.
going to
can
really
you?
try.
You know the
All right.
words.
I'm going to really try.
Make this the best one you've ever done, Jerry, would you? All right, let's hear it for Louis Beck that's just came through the house.
Ladies and gentlemen.
If you need a loan, if you need a home mortgage,
He's the guy to
talk to Louis Beck. I got my mortgage with him, and I'm very proud to say that my rates have gone. I think when I started with Louis, they were maybe 5%. I'm up to 11, and he tells me that, you know, the higher the better, and so I just keep re-upping with him. So, Irene, good night.
Last Saturday night I got married. Me and my wife settled down. Now me and my wife have parted. Gonna take a long stroll downtown. Irene, good night. Irene, good night. Good night, Irene. Good night, Irene. I'll see you in my dreams.
Sometimes I live in the country, and sometimes I live in town. Sometimes I take a great notion to jump in the river and drown.
You've been listening to Tales, Tunes, and Tomfoolery, recorded live at the Folk School Coffee Parlor in Ludlow, Kentucky. Thanks to Patrick Kennedy for writing our opening song, and to you for listening. Check out our website at jerryspringer.com.
I'll see